She didn't even look at me when she said it. Be a man and stop begging for intimacy. That wasn't anger, that was contempt.
She didn't even look at me when she said it. Be a man and stop begging for intimacy, she snapped, her thumbs just flying across her phone. It's pathetic. That word, pathetic, landed so much harder than her tone. It wasn't loud, but it was final. Contempt doesn't need volume to cut deep. I was just standing there in the kitchen, holding a glass I'd just washed, water still dripping from my fingers onto the floor. Our house was quiet. That deep, unsettling kind of quiet. The kind that feels like it's trying to hide all the things that are already broken. I wasn't begging, I said, keeping my voice calm. I just asked if we could spend some time together tonight. She let out this huge sigh, like my very existence was exhausting her. You're always asking, always needing something. It's embarrassing. And that was it. Something inside me just shut off. It wasn't anger. It wasn't even sadness. It was just a clean, mechanical stillness, like a switch had been flipped inside my chest. I calmly dried my hands, folded the towel, set it down on the counter, and walked out of the room without another word. That night I slept in the guest room. It wasn't a statement or a dramatic gesture. It was a decision. The next morning I woke up early. I went for a long walk. No music, no podcasts, no distractions. Just the cold morning air and a sudden sharp clarity. I didn't replay the argument in my head. I didn't think of clever comebacks I should have used. I just accepted something simple and brutal. She didn't want me. And so I stopped acting like someone trying to be chosen. I stopped asking for her time. I stopped initiating conversations just to fill the silence. I stopped reaching for her hand when we sat on the couch. I stopped checking in to see if she was okay. I stopped trying to fill the voids that she herself had created. I wasn't being cruel. I was just neutral. At first, she didn't even seem to notice, or if she did, she enjoyed the space, the freedom, the complete absence of what she had labeled my neediness. But then the routines started to change. I started cooking only for myself. I did my own laundry separately. My evenings were spent reading books or working out in the garage. Slowly, without any announcements, I moved all of my things into the guest room, making it my own space. That's when she started watching me more closely. Her eyes would follow me around the house. You're being weird, she said one night, her voice edged with confusion. No, I replied, not even looking up from my book. I'm being exactly what you asked for. And that's when her comfort curdled into irritation. She accused me of pulling away on purpose, of punishing her, of playing some kind of childish game. I'm not playing anything, I said, my voice completely even. I just stopped begging. The weeks that followed were transformative. I grew stronger. Not just physically from the workouts, but internally. I started sleeping better. My thoughts were clearer. I started to remember who I was before I spent years shrinking myself down to fit into her world, trying to avoid her frustration. And as I grew stronger, she became different. She started dressing up more, wearing perfume around the house again, taking phone calls where she'd laugh a little too loudly before quickly taking the conversation into another room. I never asked who she was talking to. I didn't feel the need. The truth has a funny way of revealing itself, usually through carelessness. One evening, her phone was left face down on the coffee table, but it wasn't locked. She was in the shower. A message lit up the screen, a bright green bubble against the dark glass. I wish he was more like you. That was all I needed to see. I didn't feel a surge of rage. I didn't confront her. I didn't take a screenshot as proof. I didn't explode. I just picked up the phone, turned it back over, and placed it exactly where I found it. My emotional switch was still in the off position. Instead of drama, I made a plan. I met with a lawyer quietly. I reviewed our finances, learned the timelines, and prepared my exit strategy. I documented what mattered and completely ignored what didn't. I was methodical, detached. At home, she became more and more restless. The silence she once craved now seemed to suffocate her. Why don't you fight anymore? She demanded one evening, her voice shaking with a frustration I recognized all too well. I looked at her calmly. Because fighting means I still want something from you. That scared her. I could see it in her eyes. The realization that my silence wasn't a tactic, it was an ending. A month later, she tried to pull me back in. She sat on the edge of my bed in the guest room one night, closer than she had been in months. She touched my arm, her touch light and hesitant. "You've been so distant," she said softly. "I miss us." I finally met her eyes, and for the first time in a long time, I let her see the emptiness there. "You told me to stop begging," I said, "so I listened." She swallowed hard. "I didn't mean like this." "But this is what you meant," I replied, my voice gentle but firm. "You just never expected there would be consequences." The affair came out shortly after that conversation. Not through a tearful confession, but through exposure. The other man, it turned out, didn't want the complications of a real relationship. He vanished the moment reality came knocking, she cried. She apologized. She said it was a horrible mistake, that she only did it because she felt lonely. "I was lonely too," I said, the words falling flat in the silent room. "I just didn't betray you." When the divorce papers were served, she was in genuine shock. "You're really leaving?" she asked, as if the idea was completely new to her. "I left the night you stopped respecting me," I replied. "This just makes it official." The legal process wasn't dramatic. Preparation rarely is. The facts spoke for themselves. The patterns of behavior mattered. In the end, she lost more than she ever expected to. Not because I was seeking revenge, but because the truth doesn't negotiate. On the final day, as we were leaving the courthouse, she looked at me, her eyes red from crying. She whispered, "I never thought you'd actually stop caring." And maybe that was the saddest part of it all. She hadn't just taken my love for granted. She had taken my pain for granted, too. She assumed I would always be there, always be the one trying, always be the one willing to beg for a connection she was no longer willing to give. She was wrong. Sometimes the most powerful thing a person can do is to simply stop.